Should we begin? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a really special program for you, which is, with the program, we'll help you prepare to become an early childhood educator in Finland. But first, of course, we need to introduce ourselves. What is Edunation? We are working in Edunation, and it's a student recruitment company. We are based in Finland, but we have employees from all over the world. We have employees from the Philippines. So some of you in the chat told they're from the Philippines. Malaysia, Myanmar, Denmark, also. So we have 40 plus professionals, and all of them really want to help you, in making your dream come true. If you're really dreaming of, for example, education in Europe. So as for me, so I've been in Finland as a student, now as a worker. Robert also has come to Finland student. So we are telling partly from our experience as well. But what I do in education, I help students like you. And as for Pragati, what about you?
Yeah, I work with universities and vocational schools to bring up attractive programs for all the students. That's pretty much it about what we do. But thank you everyone for joining from different parts of the world. I'm very happy to have you here, and yeah, very thankful that you gave us 1 hour of your time to learn more about STEP and the Early Childhood and Guidance program at STEP. So let's hope that you get all the information that you need towards the end of the webinar and you are able to make decisions moving forward.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Now let's check the next slide and the next one. So Edunation has been around from 2019, sorry, 17. You see it's early morning here. I look at the screen, I see 17, then 19.
Yeah.
Edunation is founded in 2017, and since then we've helped more than 5,000 students. They're coming from 40 plus nationalities. I see, we have a lot of students from the Philippines, Sri Lanka, India, Myanmar, and of course all those 40 other nationalities. So we hope to help you as well. You'll be our 5,001
Students, yeah.
So let's check agenda webinar. So both of us will tell you why Finland can be considered a great place to study, as we studied here. Then Robert and I will help a bit to explain the program itself. What's the program that we are presenting today? Because we have a lot of them. And we have really different webinars presenting one program. Today we focus on education and guidance top-up. Then we'll tell about student life in Finland, some practicalities that you need to know, and of course, how to apply. So that's very important. We'll show you the application link. And then we also have live counseling and Q&A. So how it works, in the end of the webinar, we will add you in the breakout rooms and you can already talk with the counselor. And we have counselors that speak Tagalog, for example. Of course, everyone speaks English. So you will be able to get live counseling right today. As for Q&A, we have Q&A box. You can go and put your question there already. We'll try to answer during the webinar some of the questions we might highlight only in the end. So I see some questions here already. For example, can husband or wife of student go to Finland with the student? The answer is yes, and we'll cover that in the second half of the orientation. So as for Finland as a study destination, why would someone choose it? Well, we're telling both based on feedback of our students and our own feedback. Of course, Finland is ranked #1 education quality. That's probably very famous fact. It's also top 3 safest countries worldwide, happiest country in the world, like 8th or 7th in a row. It's 8th or 7th year in a row, it's happiest country in the world. And there are a lot of international students here. So I know, Robert, you came here to study more about education system as well.
Yeah.
Are there any highlights that you can tell about Finnish education system?
Well, I think you already covered that it's ranked number one in education quality, and we also see that in the classrooms. And I'm sure that you also noticed that the classroom environment, unlike I come from Asia, so unlike Asian environment, there is no hierarchy between professors and the students. You can always treat your professors or teachers as your friend, ask questions, even give feedbacks, either positive or constructive feedback. So I think it's a very flat hierarchy, even in workplaces and also in classrooms. So you're always very welcome to put forward your opinions or perspectives or any thoughts you have. I think you are free to express in the classroom. So I really like that about Finland and Europe in general, I would say. But I think Finland
Yeah.
is more open to that.
Yeah, you can well, definitely like we call professors here sometimes by first names, but of
Yeah.
course it's still everyone respects each other. No, it's not like well, professors and teachers are on the same, like they are on the same level, but of course the hierarchy is more like that. But here we see a beautiful picture of this nature. This is a picture from Finland. That's another reason why you would consider studying here. There's a really good nature that's well taken care of. There are a lot of lakes. The water is fresh. You can drink it from the tap. We drink water from tap. Sometimes.
The one that comes in the bathroom, like it's drinkable. So you can
Yeah,
just fill your bottle up in the bathroom because all the water is fresh. I know that many people find it awkward. Even I haven't got used to that idea of filling my bottle in the bathroom, but I know that many people do that,
yeah.
and it's
So I
fine.
and sometimes when I go back to my home country, I would put my glass of water on the tap, drink it, understand that. We also have
True.
fresh air here. Like it's very clean. Like even when you walk in the city, you can still breathe properly. And let's say I started coughing way less when I moved to Finland. So
Me too. Yeah. Yeah. I think the air is very fresh. I mean, it seems like a very small part of your life, but I think it's so important that you're healthy physically and mentally so that you can focus on other things. And just like Vasa mentioned in the picture, this is a picture of the nature. It's so close by, like forest is a walking distance, lake are walking distance. Like, that's why the country is called a country of thousand lakes, because there are so many lakes. So it's always at a walking distance. I like living in Tampere because in the summer or even in the winter, if you want to go ice swimming, you can always go to a nearby lake where somebody must have dug up a hole or some place where you can just go and take a dip. So I think it's always nice that, people can enjoy different activities in summer and also in winter.
yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that as well. I think we already convinced the students that it's a good place.
Yep. And now we can talk more about the program, about what the vocational education top-up is.
Yeah. So just before going into details of the program, we'll tell what is the top up.
Yeah.
Vocational education in Finland, it's focused on practical professions. A lot of learning happens in the actual workplace by practicing. And for example, in Finland, it's almost like 50-50 spread of people who go for more like theoretical education, like university, and people who go for more practical professions.
Yeah.
And usually vocational education would be from 2 to 3 years overall. And well, of course, with our programs, they are shorter. They allow you opportunity to faster progress to career life. But that's because these programs that we have, they require some certain work experience already beforehand. That's why they're like, for example, 1 year or 1.5. And in this kind of program, you don't have to learn what you have already learned before, but instead you top up your education based on Finnish standards, based on requirements of Finnish work life. This kind of education, vocational education, is very focused on the demands of work life because, well, I can tell you, in education, we don't get programs with institutions that don't have good employment because the institution just, they would say to us, we don't want to, graduate and employed people. So we usually get programs that have some kind of demand in this field in the region.
Yeah.
Now let's see the details of the program. Well, actually, about STEP. So I can tell a little bit. We visited there. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful campus. The picture is from campus. It's not some random stock picture. It's beautiful wooden structure. It's been even nominated for some like architectural award. So it's very big open space. The classrooms have really big windows, and there's this kind of well, sort of forest nearby. It's the city is within the reach. You can take a bus, but still it's like it's near the lake in the forest, so it's very good scenery. And they have really good educated staff.
Yeah.
A lot of students. We have now students right there who are studying. They're very happy with the quality of education. So one other interesting fact is that this college is owned, I think, either in full or partially by the local church. So yeah, well, they don't. That doesn't really affect education, but it's just an interesting fact. But let's see the program detail itself, and we have some questions. Let me check. Yeah, is there a language requirement? Very good question. We'll get to that soon. Yes, you are required to know English before applying, and you need to learn some basics of Finnish after applying.
Yeah, but I think more details are covered later in the slides. But more about the program, education and guidance top up. Like Vasa said, we do partnerships with those institutions who have a strong demand from the market, and one of them is STEP. So it's a very respected vocational education provider in Finland, and it has a strong labor market reputation as well. So once you graduate from the organization or the institution, your degree is accredited and it's also recognized throughout. And one of the good things is it's also the largest adult education provider in the Nordics. So you can see how STEP has evolved itself into being one of the largest liberal adult education provider in the Nordic region. So it takes a lot of planning and implementation, and providing facilities to the student, providing quality teachers to be in this position. So that STEP already fulfills that. Additionally, it's also a private multidisciplinary institution which is managed by George Resources Agency, which Vasa already covered, and it's located to Järvenpää. So if you don't know where Järvenpää is, it's very close to Helsinki. You just need to take one train that's around 40 minutes. It takes 40 minutes to reach Helsinki. So very close by to the capital city, and also not yet far from the capital city. So I think the one of the good things about living in Järvenpää is that the
There.
cost is, yeah, I've been there. I really love the place. Is that it can be more affordable than being in the capital city, even rent and other prices. So I feel like that's a good thing about the cities which are very close to Helsinki, right?
There are many people who live in Järvenpää, but they work in Helsinki or the other way around. Some students who we have live in Järvenpää and studying, they would actually have their addresses in Vantaa. That's like between Helsinki and Järvenpää. But the location is really great. I think it
Yeah.
offers the best of like both worlds of like populated city and more like nature, small city, countryside. It has both.
Yeah. And also good local employment opportunities because it's very close to the capital city. So you get more opportunities, and it's not very far from Helsinki. So you can live in Järvenpää. You don't have to move to Helsinki after you graduate and still commute to, let's say, if you get a job in Helsinki, still be able to commute to different places. Let's move on to more details about the program. The language of instruction is English, but you also need to learn Finnish because eventually, in the beginning, you can study in English. That is a transitionary language that will be used so that you adapt more to the Finnish language, Finnish life, and Finnish culture. But you have to take the Finnish language course with us at Education, and you need to reach level A1.3 before you begin your studies. So around, let's say you study for around 3 months or 4 months, depending on the timeline of the program and when you enroll. So you have to take the Finnish language course and reach level A1.3 before you begin your studies at STEP. The price for the Finnish language course is 545 euros. So you need to pay that and take the course separately. And there's also an application fee to apply to the program that is 100 euros. But if you apply before December 7th, Sunday, that is this coming Sunday, then you get the free admin fee. So there is an admin fee waiver. So please make up your minds, more clear about the program, ask questions, and decide and apply before December 7th so that you get the admin fee
Yeah,
waiver.
it's completely free, so you can even apply right away now.
Yes,
And if you change your mind, it's free.
exactly.
And there were, thank you for sharing the details a lot,
Yep.
but there were questions about language requirement. Um, let's check more. Language is not working. Let's check that. Someone here said their speech therapist maybe need their help. Okay, so for the language requirements, how we test English language. This is a really good part. We don't need IELTS or PTE here, so you don't need to reserve any tests 3 months in advance. There is entrance admission interview where we check your English language. So that is the interview, test the English language. No need for IELTS or anything. And if you apply before December 7th, the entire admission process is free. So it doesn't cost anything. You don't need to get any certificates. As for Finnish language, if you will become a student, there is basic Finnish language course that has extent of Finnish A1.3, which is like fluent basic, and
Yeah.
you have to learn that to continue. But you don't have to know any Finnish language now. No, you only need to speak English. So we require like English of B2 level. You can speak and comprehend well because our entire admission process is in English, just like this webinar.
Yeah, that's true. And the duration of the program is for 1 year. As Vasa said, it's a top-up program. So if you already have previous experiences or previous academic qualifications, then it's much more better. That's why it's a top-up program. So in 1 year, you become fully capable of working with young children in this field. And you also it's a recognized degree. So it's that even if you study for 1 year, you graduated from STEP, which means that it's recognized all over Finland and also in the EU. The application deadline, if you've decided that you'll not apply by December 7th and you still want to pay the application fee of 100 euros, then you can also apply until December 19th. So that is the cutoff deadline. The total fee for the program is 11,800 euros. So this is a separate fee. You have to pay separately for the Finnish language course and also for the application fee. But the total fee for the program throughout 1 year duration is 11,800 euros. And what are the requirements to study in this program? You do need an upper secondary diploma. So if you have your educational qualifications, you do need to show the proof and also submit your certificates. In addition to that, you also, if you have like education related degree or if you have experience in early childhood or daycare, at least 2 years of experience, then that also supplements the already existing diploma or background that you have. So if you don't have an education related degree, let's say you have 2 years of experience working with children, then that is also sufficient. In addition to that, you need very clean criminal record, also finish A1.3. That is not a requirement in the beginning, but of course, when you go to STEP to study, you need to have A1.3, but not at the beginning when you submit your application. And you need to be able to study in English and Finnish. So even after taking 3 months of course, you are not able to progress in Finnish, then you don't meet the requirements. So you do need to meet the Finnish language requirements to be able to study in this program. So please submit your educational diplomas, transcripts, work certificates, passport, police clearance certificate because you're working with children, and also your CV so that we can at least evaluate your profile and decide whether you qualify for the program or not. Do you have anything to add, Vasa?
Yeah, so these were really great details. We received many questions about the background, so I think it's presented on the next slide where we share what background specifically is required. So you can, right now, if you're attendee, you can check according to the next slide. So I will just, okay. Yes. Well, okay, so I wonder if they're on the next one or not. Sorry, can I have, okay, no, but about the requirements, I can tell that um, like if you have worked with kids that are from high school or university students, that does not fit. However, I recommend you to really carefully like check your CV, remember your work experience. It might be that you have worked with, for example, um, younger kids before. However, since admin fee is free, you can apply right away, even without 100% checking if you have qualifications based on education. So, yeah, now let's check opportunities after graduation. Yeah, just a minute, I'm answering the question.
Yeah, I can just cover it while Vasa is answering the question. So, after you graduate, you have two ways or paths you can take. That is, you need to apply for a residence permit. So, how can you apply for a residence permit? After you graduate and you find employment or work, then you can apply for residence permit based on employment. So if you meet all the requirements, then that is the way for you to go. But let's say you've not found work and you really don't know what to do, then of course Finland offers at least 2 years of extension to look for work residence permit. So you do have 2 years of the time, but of course you need to meet the requirements. That is, show sufficient funds during this duration of 2 years or at least a year, whatever duration you're extending this residence permit for. Let's say you decided that you're going to extend it for 1 year. You need to provide sufficient proof of funds for this 1 year duration. And yes, they will grant you an extension to look for work, a residence permit, and during the duration, you can work in any field that you want. And once you find work, then you can convert it into work permit. What kind of work you can have after completing the program? You can work as a children's instructor. You can also work in youth and community services as the instructor. You can work in, let's say, as a in the early childhood education sector as a child carer or a child educator as well.
Some after school clubs as well, like
Yeah,
for younger children.
exactly. So this is a program like education and guidance, even though it's an early childhood education program. So you work with children. You can also work in municipality as a municipal youth worker, or as Vasa said, after school activity instructor. And if you want to work, you can also work as an instructor for adults and community groups. And yeah, this is not an end. Obtaining a vocational qualification in education and guidance. This will also give you the right to further studies. So after 1 year of completing the studies, like you study for 1 year in step, and you decide that you want to go to other fields or you want to study further, then lifelong learning is always encouraged here in Europe. So you can always expand your knowledge, add more qualifications, and learn more. It's always welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling about that and for the residence permit opportunities. They're really good. We
Yeah,
don't have this one.
exactly.
You don't even like it's a really good opportunity to extend your stay. It's like kind of a reward for your commitment to education in Finland.
Yeah, I used the entire 2 years to look for work residence permit because I was moving to different countries. So I think it's always nice that you could come back to Finland. I was in Germany for almost a year, and then I came back to Finland on look for work residence permit. So I used 1 year in the beginning, went to Germany to work for a year, and then came back to Finland again on the looking for work residence permit. So it's always possible that how you want to use it. It's up to you.
Now we'll share more essential information about well some practicalities that you will need to consider when you're a student in this kind of group. This is tailored group education program, so it's a bit different than the programs that institutions offer on their own, just the ones that are like 3 years long. As this is a special program with education, there are some practicalities to consider. And take a look at the picture. This is still a picture of the campus, really beautiful wooden structures. But if you're still here, if you're still out here, can you put us some reaction to check are you awake there? Are we provide you, useful information?
Oh, I see immediately very active reactions from everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the questions in the chat and the Q&A. Keep them coming. Let's see first about working right. So this is very interesting for all the students. There have been questions here. Can you work while studying? So the answer is when you come to Finland as a student with a residence permit for studies, you are allowed to work in paid employment in any field for an average of 30 hours per week. This is really broad working right. I think the broadest one in Europe. However, it of course doesn't mean that you'll get a job that's 30 hours per week. But it means, let's say, if you're closer to your graduation, if you do get some job, you can work quite extensive hours there. But we always recommend to focus on the studies because really the program is very intense. The difference between you in the first day and you on the graduation day I can't even describe it in words. You have way different opportunities for career after you graduate compared to when you first arrived to Finland, when everything is new, when you're not familiar with work environments at all. So I recommend not to rely on part-time work to support your funding. You are supposed to have funds beforehand. If you do work, both you and your employer check working hours that you don't go over the limit. But yeah, if you do get some part-time work, maybe you get some holiday work, maybe some gigs, you are allowed to work. The working right is 30 hours per week, calculated on average and on the end of the year.
What about Vasa? You've been to different graduation ceremonies of students. You mentioned that you see that the students are so much different when they graduate. Like, what are some of the things that you notice in children, like the students, apart from being very fluent in Finnish?
Well, definitely they seem to be more fluent in terms of working, like in terms of knowing Finnish work culture.
Yeah.
In this kind of programs, there's a lot of on-the-job training, so they get familiar with what are expectations at work, what are, for example, rights of the workers. So they're way more prepared. They have more tools to look for work. They have professional network
Yeah.
already, and they seem to be more familiar with culture. They're adapted to the place that they live in. They know, again, they have usually some kind of connections. They know the places where they can look for work.
Yeah.
They know their surroundings and the requirements of workplaces. So compared to the first day when they arrive, usually,
Yeah.
it's on the first weeks you're focused on like how to put furniture in your apartment.
Yeah, true.
So it goes from small scale adaptation to daily life to actual like grand things and going back to, developing your career.
Mm. Yeah. That's quite a transformation, I would say.
Yeah, but now, how to make sure that you as a student will be prepared and have proper study year that provides great opportunities is to have the funds for a living. The Finnish immigration requires you to have the funds upfront for 1 year, which would be 9,600 euro per year. However, as you see here, we wanted to give you estimated budget and we recommend taking 1,000 and more. So you can take a screenshot of that. I would say 1,110 is enough and above. 1,000 would be maybe the sweet spot. 800 that is required by the immigration is not quite enough unless you really budget your everyday spending. So it's really essential that you do have this budget planned. Maybe you've heard of these words like show money. That shouldn't be a thing. These are the actual funds that you are supposed to have in Finland for this year. If you have those funds, you can have proper studies. You're not in a rush to find a job. You can take the most out of the study year. Yeah. Let's go to next slide and let me check a question. Yeah, there's a question. Do I need to provide IELTS or PTE scores at all? Not in this program. We're checking your English proficiency in the interview. Of course, if you already have the scores, that's great. You can also provide them, but we do check proficiency mainly in the interview. Then there's a question if there's any scholarship available for this program. Do we still have early bird or was early bird the
No,
admin
it
fee?
was, yeah, early bird admin fee.
Yeah, the only scholarship, well, the only discount we have is this admin fee, 100 euro. So usually for 1 year programs, the scholarships are quite limited. Scholarships start from second year onwards.
And that is also going to expire after December 7th. So I think you should grab that opportunity as soon as possible because as we close up towards the deadline, the discounts and scholarships get much more lesser. So if you want to still grab this opportunity to save 100 euros and maybe buy something nice for Christmas for your family or for yourself, then that is a very good opportunity for you to save few at least 100 euros.
Yeah, that's like really, since it's free, the entire admission process is free. So you don't have
Yeah.
to pay anything, even after if you're accepted, you receive your letter. You still can have a choice, do you go to the program or not?
Yeah.
So we don't have any service fees that you need to pay. And if you grab this opportunity, it's completely free to apply. But of course, there's program fee. So it's not a completely free program, but it's quite affordable considering it's only 1 year, not 3 or 4. Yeah. So as for residence permit, in Finland, there are residence permits type A and B. Would like to highlight that in this program, since it's a vocational education, it will be type B. It's not something you or we can decide. It's assigned by the immigration service. Most important difference here is that permit holder, so hopefully you in future, you're not entitled to permanent address automatically. You can either get it if you, for example, get part-time job that is more than 2 years or open-ended, or at the longest if you have been living in Finland for 1 year. So usually by the time you graduate, you are able to get this permanent address. So if you don't have permanent address, it means you can't get a local identification card and you can't get Finnish license, driving license. But you still can drive with your local home country license usually. But you can make up for those obstacles if you just have enough funds with you and if you get insurance for your family members. We'll tell more about it for those students who are accepted. Now it's just a little bit of compressed information, but still introducing that to you. Yeah, let's check next slide. So can you probably tell about this one?
Yeah.
I need to get some water.
Okay, yeah, sure. So what is the next chapter for you and your loved ones? Because I remember that some of you asked questions about whether you could bring families or not. So yes, of course, if you want to come with families to Finland, you are more than welcome. I think Finland welcomes all families or students to come with families as well. So you can apply, families can apply for residence permit based on family ties, and there is an unlimited working right for spouses. So if you are a student and you're studying, you're busy studying, focusing on your studies, then your spouses or your partners can, of course, go and work and yeah, support you and your family as well. Mostly the education is free for children, but it depends on different factors. We could check that if you book a counseling session with us. Of course, we could check that information with you as well. But even though we encourage that you can bring your family members, we highly, highly encourage that the students arrive first. You apply for your residence permit first, and then the family will follow. Otherwise, what happens in many cases is that the student applies with the family, and it takes months and months, like even 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months. We don't know. It's dependent on various factors, like the kind of financial background you have, the documents you have submitted. So various factors come into play. So we would recommend that the student arrives to Finland first. And once you arrive, there's always a path and a way for the family to follow. If you as a student don't arrive on time and later you miss the studies and you cannot arrive any further, then it's a closed door for you and your family, right? All the dreams and hopes will be crushed. So I would really recommend that the students you arrive first, and that gives all the like the family always the path to come to Finland. That's what I would
Yeah.
always recommend. Yeah.
And you can even apply at the same time, but you just arrive first because we know from the immigration trends that we follow of this
Yeah.
nation that students are prioritized. So it's likely that if you apply at the same time, you get your permit first and your family gets it later.
Yeah.
But there's no requirement in terms of how long you need to live in Finland, how much you need to earn in Finland, because some countries do that, but in Finland it's not the case. But if we check next slide, you can see who are considered direct family members eligible
Yeah,
for this.
I think we need to cover more information about that because I was just encouraging them to apply first and then come first to Finland. So we already talked about the processing times, and of course, the family residence permits require a higher income. So if there is a spouse who's tagging along with you, then you need to show the budget of 610 euros per month for living expenses. And separate bank accounts are required for proof of funds. So even though you are a partner, you are a family, you're living together, we would recommend that you have separate bank accounts for different people to show that you have your own sufficient funds to cover your stay. If you're talking about a family of three, let's say you are a student, you have your wife or husband, or there's one child, then it must be 2,430 euros per month. So if there is plus one child, then it always increases. So depending on how many people you have, it always increases. So everybody needs individually to have sufficient funds to cover for their living expenses. So that is always a requirement. And you can see that there is a health insurance. It's not mandatory, but we would highly recommend it. So you should keep that in double quotation marks and in bold in your mind because since you are not in like the type B permit because you study for only 1 year, you need health insurance so that you are able to compensate or you get compensated when, let's say, your family member falls sick, you have to go to the hospital for your children, or you have to use any facilities, then the fees can be very, very high. So if you get the health insurance for your family, that means that you're insured, you're covered, and you don't have to worry too much about other funds or what happens in emergencies. You get a bill of 2,000 euros and you're in shock, whereas that money you could have invested and much more less in the health insurance. So that is always a safer way. So we would highly, highly recommend it for the students.
Yeah, it's really important information. As you see, it's our priority that you have healthy expectations. And we will share a health insurance link in one of the last slides. There's a really good question here. You can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Very good question. Can a partner of student work any job? Yes, there. If your partner gets a residence permit for family member, they have a limited study right. Oh, sorry, they can study too. They have a limited working right. So they can work in multiple fields or different fields. They can work full time. Of course, the job has to be actually proper with uh, payroll, and or they can become entrepreneur, light entrepreneur. It's not a limitation. I know some countries have 20 hours per week limit for spouse, but in Finland it's unlimited.
Yeah.
And if we check who is considered to be direct family, who can apply for residence permit for family tie, we have here spouses or partners, then registered partner, and children under 18 years of age. If you have family members that are not included here, meaning cousins, siblings, parents, your children that are older than 18, they still can come to Finland, but let's say they can also become students. They can't come as family members directly attached to your application. But there are good news with this program. If you do have family members, or maybe you have your best friend, maybe you have your classmate from college, it's possible to become classmates. We have had before father and son, sisters-in-law. We have had senior from college or tutor from college and their student in one program. So
it's a family program. True. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's check. So as for the income requirement, Järvenpää is somehow a bigger municipality in Finland as it's so close to Helsinki. So you need to have enough funds for your family. The income is checked at the immigration stage as well. For you, it will be 800 euro a student per month. So you always present it for a year, which is 9,600 euro for a student. For your spouse, 7,320. For first child, same amount. And for second child, I think it goes down to 530 per month. But overall, for a family of three, you would need around 21,000 euro. For family of four, I think it was 26. But we can also advise you, because as we mentioned before, there are counseling sessions after the webinar. So just stay after the webinar, and our counselor can give you calculation for the entire family. If you have some, maybe you have many kids, maybe you have four, for example. So we can give you exact calculation. And we have a question here. How many months worth of funds do we need to prepare? You need to prepare funds for the entire year. Yes, so yeah, let's go to the next slide. As mentioned before, we're sharing information about insurance. Just say this link. You and your family members need to get this at the point of your residence permit application. Sorry, I closed the door. Yeah, so you have very lively office. You need to buy insurance for yourself at the moment of the application. And for your family members, also recommended at point of application, but better to have it, say, before arrival. That would cover their entire stay in Finland. Let's go. Next slide. We
just wanted to add it quickly that it's so much cheaper, 219 euros for 365 days, rather than getting in the emergency hospital and getting a bill of, let's say, 1,000 euros. So I think it's always better, and the best option is to get an insurance, because I myself was not on a B permit, so I did get a huge bill when I had to use the hospital. So I would really, really recommend that you avoid being in this situation.
That's helped you, right?
Yes, I was in an insurance, but when I was on a looking for work permit, I didn't know that I needed to have a permanent municipality. So we didn't have any webinars because I was at the university and an exchange student. So we didn't have webinars like this who guided us or who provided information for us. So I think you're very lucky that you have all the information you need, at least from us, and you're able to make decisions. Otherwise, you'll just end up in a different situation because they are foreigners and they don't have much information. So you have good experiences shared by us as well.
Yeah, thank you really for sharing that information. I think now students will put special attention to this insurance because we do tell about it to all the students,
Yeah.
but still someone doesn't get it and we have to remind them in classroom. Anyway, we thought about this great program, this great opportunity that you can be in Finland already in May, how to apply. Step one, gather and submit necessary documents. You don't have to necessarily scan them. You can also take a picture from your phone. If it's unclear, we will ask you to send it again. Step two, fill the application form. I have sent your application form earlier to the chat, but you can also copy it here or take a picture of QR code and you need to apply. So if you apply before December 7, then the application is free for you. If you apply after that, it will cost €100. So now it's free. Please apply. Of course, it's only 3 days, but
Yeah.
if you have some documents missing, for example, police clearance is probably missing, you don't have to have it right away. You can send the application form. You can send the application form with documents that you already have and just supplement the missing ones later. And the admin fee will be still free if you send the application by December 7th.